We're surrounded by these incredible systems that generate just mountains of data. But what if the way we've built them, the very foundation they stand on, is actually holding us back in the age of AI? What if they were all designed to answer the least important question? Let's get into it.
So, the core problem with most of our data systems today, it really boils down to this simple but massive distinction. They are fantastic at telling us what happened. A delivery was late, a transaction failed, a sensor reading spiked. But the second you ask the most important follow-up question, why? You just get static.
And the reason for that static? Well, it's because most of our systems were literally built for a different era. They're designed for reporting, for making dashboards and charts, not for genuine reasoning.
And this creates what you could call the illusion of why. It feels like you're getting an answer, but you're not getting the truth. Let's use a super simple, everyday problem to see exactly what I mean.
Okay, so imagine you go to your standard logistics system, and you ask it a perfectly reasonable question. You've got a package, it's late, and you just want to know why. The system goes, it checks its logs, and it comes back with an answer.
And here's what it tells you. Now look, this isn't technically wrong. It's accurate. The traffic probably was heavy, but it's also incredibly shallow, almost useless. It's the kind of answer that stops you from asking more questions, but it tells you pretty much nothing of value.
That's because in the real world, the why is almost never a single isolated event. It's a cascade. It's a chain reaction of smaller things, each one building on the last, all unfolding over time. And that's the context, the story, that traditional systems just completely throw away.
But if our system could show us the real story, it'd look a lot more like this. The delay didn't just pop into existence. See, at 3 p.m., rush hour started, which is normal. But then an hour later, it started to rain. Then the truck hit some unannounced roadworks, and to top it all off, a big stadium event flooded all the alternate routes. All of a sudden, you see it, right? Heavy traffic wasn't the cause. It was just the final symptom of everything else going wrong.
And this isn't just about your package being late. This is a massive, widespread blind spot, and it affects some of our most critical industries.
Just think about it for a second. In finance, a big financial loss is never just one bad trade. It's a hidden sequence of market shifts, trades, and approvals that led up to it. In healthcare, a patient's outcome isn't about one lab result. It depends on the entire timeline of treatments and tests. And in manufacturing, a catastrophic failure is the end result of subtle patterns of wear and maintenance over months, even years. It's the same exact story everywhere.
So, what's the real consequence of all this? Well, by design, our traditional systems literally slice away this vital context. They flatten these rich, complex relationships into simple tables, and often just overwrite history to save space. They force our AI models and our own analysts to basically guess the why instead of letting them reason from the full, complete picture.
This means if we actually want AI to go beyond simple pattern matching to achieve genuine understanding, we need a totally new kind of architecture. We need one that's built from the ground up to capture three crucial things: time, events, and all the relationships between them.
This side-by-side really makes it crystal clear. On the left, you've got traditional systems that overwrite history. They tell you the current state of things, but they throw away the journey it took to get there. On the right, an AI-era architecture preserves that entire temporal history. Old systems flatten relationships into simple rows and columns. New systems build these rich, evolving knowledge graphs. And the result? Old systems enable guesswork. New systems, they enable simulation.
So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, one great example of this new approach is an architecture called XSARI, AAA. It's designed from the ground up specifically to give AI and autonomous agents the contextual foundation they need to reason about the world.
So how does it actually solve our why problem? Well, first, it combines live streaming with history in one engine, so you never lose the story of how you got to now. It builds a knowledge graph that actually evolves over time, connecting the dots as new data comes in. It automatically tracks where every single piece of data came from, which gives you perfect audit trails. And maybe most importantly, it's built for simulation, so you can finally start asking, what if?
And that ability to simulate, that's what unlocks the ultimate prize. It allows us to shift from being purely reactive, firefighting problems after they've already happened, to being proactive, where we can actually see them coming and do something about it.
This is the real power of what-if scenarios. It's a simple three-step process.
First, you capture the full context of everything that happened in the past, just like with our delivery delay. Second, you use that incredibly rich history to simulate potential futures. You can ask the system, hey, if next Friday has the same weather, traffic, and event schedule as last Friday, what's likely to happen? And third, based on that simulation, you can act proactively, rerouting the truck before it ever gets stuck in traffic.
What we're really talking about here is a fundamental shift in how we even think about data. We're moving away from building systems that just passively record data as a log of the past, and we're starting to create systems that can truly understand data in its full context across time.
So, I'll leave you with a question to think about for your own systems. What is the critical why that your system just can't answer today? And more importantly, what could you build if it finally could?